The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's Andy's Trading Studio with Jamie Hodge in the side saddle. Hello, guys.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, Pasa, everybody.
I
Andy.
saw Elaine say hello, and I didn't know if you were saying hello to Elaine or saying hello to me. But hello,
Very good.
Elaine. And
All right.
uh,
Very
can
good.
you guys hear us okay and see us? Is everything fine? The visual and the audio? Great.
Yep. Sounds good.
Thanks,
That was my
everybody.
next question. Thank you very much. So we got that going. Let's do the quick poll. Again, Scott, marketing manager, is busy at work on our next October 23rd open house. If you haven't heard about that yet, we're having another 1 week trial. Come one, come all. Try everything we got for $888 for the week. We call that our test drive week. And so you'll be hearing and seeing probably a lot more information on that to come. So Scott is at work putting that together. So I'm filling in here on the opening to run the quick poll, as we always like to do, get a feel for who's in the audience. First question's coming through here on the poll. It's binary. It's either yes or no. Do you have a Trade Ideas active subscription, or no, you do not have an active subscription? What I'll do is I'll wait for at least a good supermajority, and then I will share those results. And those results are coming in kind of as expected. I'll go ahead and close it. Okay. And the results are as typical. 2/3 have a subscription, and 1/3 pretty much is here trying to learn some more information about it. So stay tuned. Andy will give you a promo code at the end of the session on how to save 15%. The second quick question coming at you here on the poll, and this is only for the Trade Ideas active users. If you don't have an active subscription, you can sit this vote out. Let me launch that poll. The question is, are you a premium member using the AI, odds maker, and price alerts, or are you using the Trade Ideas standard, which is pretty much the whole product with all of our scanners, just minus the AI and back testing? And let's wait until we get a supermajority here. I know there's not as many of you voting this time. All right, I think we've squeezed out about as many votes as we can. So let me share this poll and close it. Close and share. So as usual, the majority of our subscribers attending the webinar are using the premium, and a slight, maybe 1/3, we'll call it, is using the standard. And that's great. Some people downshift from the premium to the standard. A lot of people start with the standard and then upshift to the premium when they're ready. So good to know that information. Thank you all. I'm going to hide that poll. And then now I'm going to remind you that your questions are viewable. Everybody's microphones are muted except for Andy and Jamie. So if you have a question, you can send it through. Ideally, try to hold the questions, till the end, or at least until the host is asking for them. And the webinar is being recorded. So if you have to leave early, or if you're joining late, this will be uploaded onto the Trade Ideas YouTube channel a couple hours after we finish. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Andy, and I'll go on mute. And hello, Andy.
Hello, Steve. Yeah, thank you for the introduction there, and the polls, of course. And hey, Jamie, how's it going, partner?
Good stuff, Andy. Good day in the market. Lots of interesting things happening, which we'll get into. But yeah, it's almost Friday.
Yes. It's been kind of a lackluster week, and today I don't have. Lately, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've had a new kind of alert to share with you guys. I don't have anything today because honestly, it was pretty quiet. I think Steve and I and Jamie were all talking about how our alerts. Jamie actually had some interesting stuff that he's going to share with us later. Some really good stuff he's working on with compare count sectors. But for the most part, yeah, it's kind of a lackluster day. And but I think we have some incredible insight about how you can use Trade Ideas technology to kind of tip you off in this sort of day. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Jamie earlier, and we both agreed that we would be real surprised if this market rallied. This is way early in the morning, and maybe even sell off. But anyway, we're going to show you why we were coming to those conclusions during the day. But before we do, let's move on to our disclaimer. Guys, remember, this is for educational purposes only. You're going to hear and see a lot of cool stuff in here, great technology, but is not to be construed as investment advice. Okay, if that's what you're looking for, locate your nearest stockbroker or your registered advisor, and speak with them about that. But we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to share some great trading insight with you. I'd like to remind everybody, and I'll do this at the close too, because we want to make sure you watch this. Okay, about 10 or 11 days ago, we held our Trade Ideas Summit out in beautiful Carlsbad, California, and now you can watch a recording of that live stream. Just go to trade-ideas.com/Holly Summit, and be sure to go to the 18-minute mark, 18 and 45 seconds for the start of that. I'd like to talk a little bit about the incredible support, education, and training that we have here. Excuse, pardon me to all the long-time attendees in here, but we do have people new in here all the time, and we have to let them know about the support that you have at Trade Ideas. It is a powerful software, and we realize that, so we provide throughout the week several different places you can go and just get incredible information about the software. We have 4 webinars a week, all in the 5 p.m. time slot. And we also have the daily trading room, which is open basically for 7 hours a day. It opens up 30 minutes before the market starts. You will find Barry in there. He is our moderator. He does an incredible job. You can just sit there and watch over his shoulder and look at our software as he looks at each of the windows and decides, you know, what trades to take based on our software and our artificial intelligence. So a great place to hang out. There's usually about 500 traders in there and some really good ones. So not only will you get some good ideas from Barry, you'll get some good ideas from other really good traders. And every Friday, guys, don't forget about this, and this is not just for subscribers. If you want to learn more about our product and you are not working a full-time job or have the morning off, please come to our Friday support session. It's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we basically just open up the floor. We use the same question panel as you're using right now. It's the same format. You ask the questions, we answer you verbally, and also we'll demonstrate things on our software so you can have a visual as well. Great place to be, 11 to 2 p.m. on every Friday. And one last thing, guys, when you do sign up for Trade Ideas, you get a free one-on-one hour of power training. It's a $99 value. I don't know what else to say, man. I keep getting more and more great responses and replies from people that have done this and email me and just say, man, you just really helped me incredibly, because you're basically just taking one of us aside for an hour. We talk to you and we look at your desktop and we work, we set up your layout, build alerts for you, just, you know, help you in any facet that you want to be helped. And we can also go down the path of trading strategies and things like that as well. So be sure to sign up for the one-on-one training when you subscribe. It's free for all subscribers, no matter what version that you choose. All right, and we do have a Brokerage Plus module that you can automate your trades through Interactive Broker. So this is for more experienced traders. If you want to find out more information about this, it's still in beta phase. I have no idea when it's going to come out, but it's free for now, and you can find it at trade-ideas.com/beta. And once again, that's probably more for experienced traders who already have an idea, built some strategies and tested them and all that. So let's look at the agenda today. We're going to talk about the market recap. It's going to kind of be the same old story there, still kind of chopping sideways on low volume, but we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Holly recap. Wow, pretty good day, huh, Jamie?
You got that right, Andy, and I'm really impressed with not only the performance that she spit out today, but also kept it nice and tight with a very low trade count.
Very surgical today, I would call it, by Holly. I mean, just precision. Yeah, yes, precision. Just going in, picking off $1 here and 40 cents there. Anyway, we'll talk a lot more about that, because when you have an action like this in the market and Holly was able to perform like she did, we definitely want to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about, you know, things that we were seeing in the market today. Compare Count was warning us all day about continued action to the upside. I'll talk more about my extreme volume high-low. Is mostly lows today, so very little action coming through that. I haven't seen that in a while. We'll see. Time will tell if this is precursor to things to come or maybe just an anomaly for today. Like I said, time will tell, but it was definitely telling us today. Then, of course, we'll open it up for questions. Maybe if we have some time, we can take a look at a few charts. Everybody likes that, and we'll be happy to do that if we have some time. But let's go to the market recap now. And what we like to do is pull up the spiders. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time there because we're seeing the same pattern. Even though there was not a whole lot of action, it was a down day on the spiders. It's still a very bullish chart. You still have a chart that has made a huge move and is kind of going sideways and potentially ready to make another move. So I am not going to say there's anything bearish about this chart at all, because there's not. I'm just not going to talk a lot about it because really we've gone over it all week. It's just been an incredible uptrend. These things get kind of cockeyed at times, but I'm not going to find the trend that's down there somewhere. Same thing with the diamonds, even more pronounced, I think, looking at where they've come from. A little bit weaker today, I would say, in the diamonds. The Qs looked like they were making action today. I noticed the Qs early on when the market was kind of gapping down, that the FANG stocks, a lot of the Facebook was strong, Amazon, and was trying to hold up the market because there really wasn't any sector leadership. Anytime you look down here and you see nat gas as your high sector of the day, that tells you there wasn't a whole lot of strength, sector strength in the market. Although Jamie, did find some in the construction sector, and I'm excited about seeing what he found today. Actually, he's already shared it with me because we were doing our prepping earlier. So anyway, you guys will get a kick out of that. But let's go back to IWM, see what it looks like. Tickled once again, kind of like it did over here, tickled through lows, popped back up today, same thing. Tickled, probably suckered a lot of shorts in, waiting for this potential kind of topping pattern to develop. But I'm going to say that in most cases, they're not that smooth. Usually these things don't reverse without some sort of, you know what I'm talking about, Jamie? Some sort of head fake to the upside. They usually don't let people get in that easy and just roll over nicely for them. I know Steve would agree with me, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe some head fake or maybe even some extended.
Yeah, that would be too idealistic, shall we say?
Yeah. Usually not that pretty. That doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just usually not that easy. But I like to take a look at what is it? Is it ICA? IWC. That's what it is, I think. Yeah. Micro cap. There's your micro cap. That kind of just goes to show you the kind of the euphoria in the market that we've had lately. These are really small cap stocks, and huge move, but yet going sideways again. So no real, on the daily chart, no really bearish looking action. Just time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. But Jamie, do you have anything else you'd like to add on the
well, with the IWM, hey, we'll just wait for that. Of course, there's no guarantee, but it's almost like you can feel pretty soon there's going to be an open where you're going to see that washout bounce candle, right? Yep. And hey, maybe maybe you scale into a little bit now, where if it does take some fluxes, you're not going to lose sleep over it. And then if it continues to play out, we see that big stop hunting action that one day, and the big bottoming wick washout bounce. Well, then that's always a good indicator.
Very good. I mean, just a little tip that I've learned over 20 years of trading, because it is very tantalizing and tempting to, when you see a move like this or a move in the IWC, to want to fade it. And it's just so very hard to pick a top, just like it is to pick a bottom. And I still like to do it, but when I do it, I do it with options, okay? Because options are far less painful when they go against you. And not only that, it's just very hard to pick that top, to when it's going to happen. I guarantee you there's people who've been short this thing now, trying to pick a top up here for a week, and they're just getting really frustrated because it looks like it's going to break. And there's a very good chance they're going to get shaken out even before it does. Eventually it will come down. But anyway, just a little tip, if you have to do something like that, risk little, risk yourself, to a couple of $100 and play some options, or even 50 to $100 and play options if you have to play in that realm. All right, that's just about it, Jamie, with the market recap. I think we can probably go into the Holly recap, or let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, Jamie. If you're ready.
Yeah, you want me to take it?
Yeah, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it. I'll save the last part after the.
Just let me know when you can see.
I got it.
Tightly packed screen here. Okay, Holly.
Got it.
Once again, lean and mean. All business today. As Andy said, very surgical, very precision oriented. She made she started the session with 8 strategies, which we can all see here were long, with the exception of knocking on resistance. She did throw a short one in there after all the analysis was done last night. But of course, not all of those guys traded. The short guy did manage to knock one out, and then of course, out of the 5 trades that were issued, the remaining 4 were all longs. Very interesting the way things played out today. We can see risk off won the day, up $1.30, nice and solid. And risk on had its fluctuations. So at one point in the day, just short of $2.19 was on the table. And then of course, like we always say, on some of these days, if you don't take the cookies, well, next time it came back around, just some chunks of cookies, maybe some big fat crumbs, but certainly nothing like what we saw up here after the first push. Now, this is going to kind of tie into what Andy was alluding to earlier about how we were having conversations and we were thinking about what the market may or may not do. And I just want to take the opportunity to bring my Twitter stream over here and just see what those compare counts were after the first 15 minutes today. So, of course, these two over here, the big caps, 4 billion, 5.4 billion in excess on the market cap. Then, of course, over here we got the 2 to 4 billion and the sub 2 billion. But it doesn't really matter which one you looked at today. I mean, the big caps alone, when you see a bias of 58, 59% one way or the other, typically it does mean something. All right. Now, a couple of different ways to temper our expectations, and that is, okay, just like any day, even if there's a downdraft, there will be stocks going up. So Holly's predominantly long. So what does that tell me? Whether I do trades manually or whether I follow Holly today, take the money. Take the money when it's there, because pullbacks are in effect, as we can see. Just glance back over here at Holly's intraday equity curve here. Holly's obeying her rules, getting out, letting her profit targets get hit. But if we're just holding, we did get rewarded, and then of course, whoosh. That's what my compare count windows were telling me. Those were my expectations. Take the long money quick. Unless you see the market just busting out the new highs, well, there's going to be some ebb and flow on the day. So obviously, when you're just having one strategy do a one-off here, it's either going to have 100% or 0%. These little guys down here didn't fare too well. But let's take a look at the actual trades, because right out of the gate today, we were gifted with this little guy right here. XRF. Holly gives us the signal right here. All right. Now, of course, that was pretty, not immediately on the open, but about 25 minutes into the open, which is fairly quick for Holly. Sometimes she gets active in the first 5 minutes if some of those strategies fire off. But today, 25 minutes in, gives us a few footprints to kind of gauge and do our human thing when we see the signal come from Holly. So Holly gets it right here at 10:25, says, I'm going to have me a piece of this long, and then we quickly push on up. And of course, the more you see the Holly trades, some of them excuse me, are going to be like this, where there's really never any pullback. It's just off to the races. Now, what was really special about this one, number one, we knew right off the bat that early bird is rocking with a 61.9% success rate coming into the session. Those are really good odds, so we've already got statistical probability on our side. Now, in the same bar that Holly makes the call, well, my eyes immediately go to this level right here. So even though it's only been 25 minutes, you know, we got the low down here, and by the way, that's always a good sign too. You know, sellers tried to rip it down to there, they couldn't hold it, whoosh, buyers bring it right back up in that 5-minute bar, and you know, that did trade 28,760 shares in that bar, so there was actually some volume behind it. Now, this is comforting. It's also comforting when Holly says, hey, high probability odds. And what's even more comforting is when he gets up here and starts to pop through. That's a range break, ladies and gentlemen. Nice tight range break from a Holly play. Always makes me want to leverage that position. And then even better is that shortly after I recognized statistical probability, range break, guess who comes through this window? XRF right here, basically saying, hey, hitting a new high. Of course, I already knew that because I was paying attention to the range break, and then boom, this guy's like, yeah. And by the way, it's doing it on massive volume. So as far as stacking the three things together, this one hit every mark today. We got statistical probability, we've got pattern recognition from the human, me, and we've got clarification of super fantastic volume. All right, and if we look at my single stock window, finished the day with 15.26 relative volume. These metrics down here, very impressive. It's the classic example of going outside of the traditional metrics and boxing ourselves in and going, well, it's got to do this much volume or this much volume or this much volume, because if we would have been using some of those tighter average daily volumes, there's a good chance we probably would have never seen this stock, right? But Holly's different. You know, average daily volume on the 3-month, 105,000, a little bit better on the 5-day, but then today simply crushed it with 1.6 million shares. Everything's about timing. And this was just one of the better examples I've seen in a very long time where we can stack a bunch of positive attributes together. All righty, and then, so let's also
to add to that one too, Jamie. If you look at, take a look at the daily. I mean, we had incredible volume yesterday as well. You know, so not only that, you had great volume yesterday, a big move, which when you, I think I was talking with Steve at this time. You know, when Holly took that dollar out, we were saying, yeah, that's probably a good take because you have, look at the move it had yesterday, and then the move on top of it today was end up being a big old wick, and you know, came back and settled down. So that was a huge percentage move, basically 100% move in 2 days. So
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it also, profit target hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah, and then of course, what happens? Fold it all the way back down, and had you held that thing all day, you'd be down now.
That's right.
That brings up a my columns have a strange habit of disappearing. But let's just take a peek at my latest favorite column, which is max profit. So even on max profit, only another, what, 2 cents or so coming out of that guy. Let's see here. Now this one, very interesting. So we had one right out of the gate, profit target hit, trade only lasted 14 minutes. We love starting off like that. That trade had many attributes that were good. Now let's take a look at ICHR. And of course, a little bit later in the day, 9:42 for us West Coasters. And here we are with the entry bar right here. And very similar to what we see. Didn't just immediately go, hugs the line for a little bit, passes back and forth through it over a 20-25 minute period, finally catches and goes, and just like the other one, we can play the range break game on this guy too. All right, so if we're playing strictly by the rules and using that wick from the second 5 minute period there of the open, we draw our line straight across, we get the call from Holly here, maybe we just pile into 100 shares as a little tester, see how it goes. We get the sideways movement. Hey, we're in the money now. Click, click, click. What's happening here? Range break. All right. Now, volume on this one doesn't look as mighty as the other one, but keep in mind the trade can work on any one of 3 attributes alone. Pattern recognition, statistical probability, then you throw the volume in there, right? So just getting used to identifying the pattern. We've got the statistical probability once again, different strategy. This one's even got more than early bird, 67.2%. Okay, we're in 100 right now. Comes up here and busts this range. Excellent time to add to that position. Really leverage a statistical play from Holly, coupled with some pattern recognition, and really make that thing work for you. Depending on how aggressive you are, you even got a third entry over here where it sets up once again. Now on this one, getting very close on the daily. Didn't surpass yesterday's high, but it sure acted like it was going to try, and it closed pretty strong today. So a lot of the times we take a little carryover. So whether we act on this thing again tomorrow or not, might be one you want to take a close look at the open, see what kind of opportunity might be there. Now, more importantly, Holly, why did she get out? Profit save, and of course, profit save, risk off is going to coincide with the shaded area that we see here. So Holly gets in and milks it pretty good. Got out down here after a little pullback. But then, once again, we can make the decision. Do we want to get out of everything with Holly? A good way to get used to this, and this is pretty much the most logical way to go about it, in my opinion, is until you get really comfortable with it, do a little bit of half and half. Okay, I see Holly getting out. I'm going to peel out of half with her. I'm going to set my stop loss back to break even or to where I make just a little bit in case this thing folds back over. But if you decided to hold that second portion in what we call risk on mode, you're accepting a little bit more risk, but in this case, you certainly got paid a little bit more alpha because it's all about capturing something in between here, in between risk off and risk on. A lot of juice between 35 cents and $1.09. So, of course, just like Andy was alluding to earlier, every once in a while we're going to get lucky in top tick and bottom tick things, but it's certainly the exception and not the norm. So, maybe you made 50 cents, 60 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents, just somewhere in the middle of that spread, capturing some of that alpha. That reminds me of an episode of South Park that was on not too long ago about the motorcycle guys. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But when you live in Southern California with your doors and windows open, sometimes it happens. Hey, at least it was fast, right?
Yeah, he got out of there quick. Uh-oh, did he pull your cable on the way out?
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I had not clicked my mute button here.
Oh, okay.
So in any case, let me finish my train of thought here. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's about capturing a little bit of the spread that's generated between risk off and risk on. Mm-hmm. So really, these were the two shining stars today, XRF, ICHR. Everything else was, just maybe a small loser. This was the only spot for today.
Well, Jamie, if you don't mind, I would like to talk a little bit about that AKCA because that's a...
Oh, yeah, on the timely exit. I'm sorry, I got my eyes turned around here, and go ahead, Andy, talk about that.
Well, first of all, let's take a look at the daily. Now, this is somewhat of a new issue, so I'm always careful with new issues, but if you'll put it on the daily, and that's a beautiful pullback. You're looking at a stock that we just recently had an all-time, of course, a 3-month high, but nonetheless, it tried at the early part of the month to get through that again, and it failed, and now it's pulled back 6 bars in a row now. And this could be a very good setup, to watch for tomorrow because you've had a nice pullback in a bullish chart, pretty much right down to its trend. And if it does take out, this is very much like my pullback above 50 SMA alert. And so if it does pull back and take out that high that Jamie is going to mark for you tomorrow, the high of today, well, I think he's showing you where it pulled back. There you go. But if it takes out that high, yeah, the high of the day, if it takes out that tomorrow, that can be a very interesting play. This is why I want to say when Holly calls out an alert, they can be tasty on different time frames. Okay, this one Holly was able to squeeze out 28 cents today, I believe, on risk off. And honestly, when she took this trade, I was saying this is probably not one I would hold all day, because usually when you have a sell-off like that, you close a lot of times with a what's called a kind of an inside doji day or spinning top like you have there. It's inside yesterday's price action, but definitely one to watch for some follow-through tomorrow. Or I shouldn't say follow-through, I should say a reversal pattern tomorrow if it can take out today's high. So that's the kind of stuff, that people miss a lot with Holly's calls. Not all of them are designed. When you see the name bullish trend change, it's referring to the potential of a daily change in the chart direction. So
and Andy, if you look at the max profit column on AKCA, there was 58 cents in that trade at the top, right?
Yep.
So once again, lots of between these trades, just looking at this max profit column, we got $1.16, we got 218, we got about 222 in max profit, and of course that's the top tick. But it's not about getting the top tick, it's about getting a good portion of the move or the points available on any given trade.
Yep. Hey Jamie, Kelly asked, obviously she's new in here, which is great, glad to have you, Kelly, but she asked, could you explain what Holly does? So just in a nutshell, would you kind of just briefly kind of go over?
Yeah, let me see which version I'm going to pull out here. Okay, quick and concise. Okay, so Kelly, Holly is our artificial intelligence module that we brought online in the very beginning of 2016. She's going to be 2 years old. Well, no, actually, yeah, 2016, 17. So at the end of 2017, she'll be a grand total of 2 years old. All right. And Holly is the result of about, 13 years of adding layer and layer of, adding layers to trade ideas and then slowly fusing them all together. And where it all started is we came out with our statistically based back tester, which is the odds maker, around about 2008 or so, or probably a year before that in beta. Remember that first conference we ever came to, Andy, and it was kind of unveiled way back then. So it was a long time ago. But anyway, to get back on point here, the back tester was it still is a very advanced statistical back tester. Matter of fact, I'll just pull it up real quick here, just to give everybody a peek at what the back tester looks like. So we can back test only alert windows, and we go, all right, let's back test this strategy. And then we can set up all of our time parameters, when we want to take trades, how long we want to hold them, and then we can simulate buys and sells to test strategies and see if they're viable. Now, this is very cool. It allows the human to work at a rate which is exponential compared to not having a tool like this, because I just back tested 2,999 trades. Try and do that manually, good luck, get a good chiropractor, right? So what we quickly realize is we can find a lot of cool things with that methodology. Of course, it's not as easy as you might think. It takes lots of work, many hours, and sometimes you go in and you have a 4-hour back testing session and you don't find anything. That's not a lot of fun, right? And then what you have that works, quits working. So then it led us down the path of, well, this is cool, but we still have to do a whole lot of work. Let's invent a program. Let's write algorithms that do all of this for us and then improve upon them and retest them and only bring them to our attention if they're just the best of the best, okay? That's what Holly does. Holly's got a base core of strategies of about 40. Tonight, once, the market's closed right now, so we're updating the database with all today's tick data. So once that's all done, Holly, the AI, goes to work backtesting her core strategy collection there of 40 some odd strategies, and these strategies have tens of thousands of trades over a 40 trading day period. So Holly goes to work trying to improve them, testing them over and over again, and only the ones that meet the minimum score on our proprietary scoring system make the cut for the next day. So we could see some of the same strategies appear tomorrow, completely different, but here's the kicker. Tailwind might show up again tomorrow, but guess what? It's not going to be the same tailwind that made an appearance today. It's going to be similar, but the AI would have changed things up a little bit based on incorporating today's data into the equation. So that's what Holly is. She is the first and only AI that we know of thus far that is made available to the retail public. So
Very good.
I hope that kind of you know, sketches the broad strokes, Kelly. Of course, you can continue to learn by coming to these webinars, hanging out in various trading room, and actually using the software yourself.
Good, good. Seems like she enjoyed that explanation, Jamie. You're so smooth.
Well, let's not get carried away. So that kind of wraps up, you know, Holly, once again, low trade count, very precision oriented. We're proud of her today. Okay. So what's our time looking like, Andy? We still got
Oh, it looks fine. It looks fine. As a matter of fact, I was thinking we could probably kind of combine, you know, what little I have left, because it has a lot to do with what your compare count windows you were showing earlier, and how you're going to kind of segue into your sector compare counts. So let me just kind of set the stage of what Jamie's going to be doing. First of all, and I don't think you need to switch it to my screen. I can just talk about it. Steve was saying the same thing. He hit me up earlier in the day. He's like, wow, I have nothing on trend change lubricant, you know, factor. And I'm like, well, yeah, same. My alerts are dead. My extreme volume, high, low pro alert, the one that I will look at so much, you know, it, boy, was not spitting out anything today. I mean, every day I have something in there, but most of it was yellow, which means most of the stuff that was coming through was to the downside. I do keep a compare count window on my screen. It's just a big cap. And it started out today, like Jamie said, around 58, 59% to the negative side. Jamie's showing you right there. And I kept that running all day, and it never really dipped below 56. So even as the market was trying to push higher, the real downside, the real volume was to the downside, was what that window is telling you. So when you see things like that, okay, when you see Holly being surgical and only making a few trades, even though she comes to the, you know, the morning kickoff, tee off with, you know, a bench of 10 people or 10 strategies or 9, whatever she had today, and see it only fire off 5 trades, you know, and seeing the action in your alerts and watching those, you know, compare count that Jamie has shared with you. It kind of gives, you know, there's so much more to this product than, oh gosh, when's it going to show me the next symbol I can buy and make a lot of money? No, you can watch it and just kind of absorb everything that's happening in your mini filters and compare counts, and kind of get a feel of what's really happening, you know, underneath it all in the market, and it can really kind of set the stage of what you should do and when you should hold back, not press it. That's the key. I mean, a lot of times, you know, I know we say this over and over, but Jesse Livermore once said he didn't make his millions and millions of dollars by trading. He did it by sitting on his hands. And that's very important when it comes to trading, no matter what time frame you're talking about. Know when to trade and know when maybe just to sit back and not be aggressive. That doesn't mean you can't find opportunities, and that's what's so great about this software. You will be able to find opportunity, and Jamie's going to show you right now how you could find some opportunity. But I just kind of want to go over, just by taking the software as a whole, how it can kind of tip the hand today for the general market. So
good transition into this, and because what Andy, you know, what he's getting at here is that there's all kinds of information out there that is useful if you're aware of it, and if you are aware of it, and then know how to put it into some type of format that actually can give us some type of meaning, right? And in this case, with the compare counts, they're not magic or anything. They just help us temper our expectations, which we constantly have to adjust. Got to always stick to your rule set, no deviation, but you always have to constantly temper your expectations, right? The wind's not blowing the same speed every day. It's not blowing the same direction every day. It blows different directions and it blows different speeds, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here. You know, let's use the sailboat analogy, okay? Which way is the wind blowing, right? Now, in this case, when we're looking at these large cap compare count windows, well,
I think you may have accidentally hit your mute again.
oh, I had another loud beep
Okay.
driving by. So,
Okay.
everybody, they're killing me today. All right, so the big count compare count windows helped us kind of get a feel that the market might not be as strong as everybody thinks it is. And of course, we saw the market peel back there in the second half of the day. So these things were speaking to me in the first 15 minutes, and you know, you just can't avoid this. If this much selling is going on in the open compared to normal on those big cap stocks, eventually gravity is going to catch up. Now, what I've done is I've taken it a step further. Whereas this is looking at big cap stocks across the board hitting highs and lows with accelerated volume in the opening 15 minutes under the theory that we're tracking institutional big buying and big selling to try to get a bead on the overall market direction. What I've done with these guys is it's the same concept, but you can see each one of these guys is looking and applying that to a different sector. Real estate, oil and gas, accommodations and food services, finance, healthcare, wholesale trade, right? So after the first 15 minutes, not only am I looking at my ones that I tried to use for market direction, but this is what stood out. Which one? Okay. So these guys were getting sold off today, healthcare and retail trade. And then I saw these guys just getting blown to the roof on buying. Look, construction, 72% biased to the upside. They were buying the hell out of the construction stocks. Okay. So I thought to myself, all right, I'm gonna create a watch list for the construction stocks and see what might be there as far as opportunity goes. And I do this 15 minutes in, just like the other one. So 15 to 20 minutes, whatever your preference is. It's not going to be a huge difference. Now, when I got that information, all I did is I pulled up one of my favorite top lists, which basically had a what I like to call a skeleton key filter set. Don't want to see ETFs or iShares. Want to make sure it's traded a little bit. So I've got 50,000 in there. They had to have traded 50,000 already on the day, with average daily volume of 200,000 to try to keep the riffraff out. Now, what I did is I simply went over here and I checked off my construction list, only the following list, and then bam, it provides me with this list here, nice and easy. Didn't have to input any symbols, just pointed to the list, and here we have them. Now, while I kill off each one of these little boxes here, bear with me, because we're going to see what these stocks did after that 15-minute mark. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's have a look-see. All right, well, PHM was right here after the first 15 minutes, and we can see what transpired afterward. Now, $27 stock. Of course, we can still verify this. These are indeed stocks in the construction sector. Now, this one, a little bit of a low dollar stock and not really that appealing of a chart. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting about this guy is it just capped off a 12-day run, and look who recommended a buy in it back on the 25th, little Holly. And so you see, Frank, this is a perfect example of using a previous Holly play, because back on this day, if you're like, Holly traded it intraday here, I'm squishing my chart up, you know, we've got this little area of, you know, consolidation here. So we start playing the same old game, you know, because Holly recommended this on the intraday. That's the only reason we looked at it that day. if we performed this little analysis back on that day, we would have been tipped off to a nice trend change stock, right? Small dollar, but a big percentage move over the past 12 days. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's get back on point here. You would have been told about FAST right here. What happened to FAST the rest of the day? Up, up, up and away. And what you're going to see is all of these were just pretty cherry, with the exception of two. KBH, home builder. Hey, boom, boom, boom. Everybody's known. Look who traded it not too long ago too. Ollie was in there on an intraday basis again. But of course, this was all just gleaned from looking at the hot sector windows for the morning, right? So getting an alert 15 minutes into the open on this guy would have worked very nicely as well. JCI, you know, kind of some crazy action. The fact that this stock trades in 20-cent clips, these bars look a lot more fierce than they actually are. But nonetheless, we're told about it here. Hey, this whole sector is heading higher. What did JCI do? Followed its pack. And this guy, and this would have been, you know, hey, you're profitable. Hey, you're down. Hey, you're profitable. Hey, you're down. So on that one, you just have to pick your exit, make a few pennies, lose a few pennies, or flat. And then, of course, let's go to CBI last here. Once again, 15 minutes. Look what it did. The only one that didn't work or give you a chance to flat or take a little bit of money was this guy here. And sometimes we have to, it is in the construction realm, but it's in the construction manufacturing pipes and operating equipment for the oil field. Everybody knows what the oil stocks were doing today. So, you know, whether it's oil and gas or biotech stocks, those sectors are just notorious for moving contrary to the market. So a lot of the times, anytime you see a stock, even if it's a construction stock technically, but if it's dealing in the oil and gas, and oil and gas is having a bad day, a lot of the times they get drugged down with it. So that's
absolutely
the comment I wanted to make about MDR. The rest of these guys were just pure construction plays that all worked out pretty well, you know. So once again, the technique I showed you guys, you know, there's no custom formulas. There's no super secret, you know, anything. It's just going, okay, well, I got these windows. They're going to show me where the high volume is, what sectors are getting the most play, to the upside, to the downside, and you know that the volume is there, right? So these windows can be extremely valuable for you. So tomorrow, if we look over at our compare count windows or our sector watch windows, and I see finance doing the same thing, you know, 75% green after the first 15 minutes, all we have to do is this. We keep this little guy on our desktop, we go duplicate. Then all we have to do is come over here and just simply point it to the other sector, right? Finance and insurance, bam, bam. Then we've got our list. Of course, every sector has different numbers of components, but this is a way to set up your watch list without having to manually input symbols, and you can do it quickly and react quickly as well.
Ah, very good stuff, Jamie.
Yeah, so any questions about any of the compare count windows? I'll take the opportunity here in a moment to drop all those cloud links in the chat area. That way, if you want to start following these windows, getting a feel for them, it's just as simple as loading up that cloud link.
Yep, absolutely. And if you want to pass it back over to me, Jamie, while you're doing that, I will be happy to take some chart requests here, you know, going into our closing minutes. So
yeah, I know we've already got a request up there.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was, I pulled it up while you were away. That was a high flyer pissant stock, I call it today. Obviously some news on that one. It is a biotech, it looks like. Those biotechs can be very rewarding, and they can also cut both ways, especially if you hold on to them overnight. But Just looking at it after today's move, I don't. I'm not sure if you're in this, Kelly, or thinking about jumping into it. You got to consider the move it's already made. That doesn't mean it can't keep going. So looking at it technically right here, let me pull out the daily real quick here for you and zoom in a little bit. And you can see where it's running into a little bit of resistance. It got through kind of this area down here, but now you're dealing with this big old long wick right here. So I'll draw a horizontal line here. If it does get through that wick going back in March, there's a good chance it's just going to, what we call, fill the gap. You have a big gap here going back from last June all the way down to, you know, from 450. So there's a good chance if it does break through this level right here, that we could obviously fill the gap there at 450. A lot of times what you will find after days of a big move like this is what you call kind of an inside spinning top, or a doji day, where you get back and forth action as the bulls and bears kind of battle back and forth, and it will kind of set up a potential go, pause, go for you. In other words, you've had a big go bar here, and then you may get a little pause tomorrow as it waffles back and forth in indecision, and then you get another go day after that. So that's something I'd be looking for. You know, maybe a little poke through this high tomorrow, and then come back down and kind of slop around sideways and set up a pause day, and potentially for another go, pause, go to that gap. But okay, so yeah, you were trading that today. Yeah, you know, there's definitely some good intraday moves in that, and that's you know, that's what you want to do, especially when you're day trading. You know, you want to find the stuff that's in action, and this was definitely action right from the get-go. When it opened up, it took out the pre-market high and really never, well, I shouldn't say never looked back. It wasn't that easy. It can be kind of sloppy in there, but still a nice finish. Allison, yeah, the way I explained, you know what, I treat Holly as a very, very good alert. It's still idea generation, okay? Holly is going to generate some incredible ideas for you, like the XRF today. And you know, going into these were back tested the night before, so you know, going up until today, these had a very, you know, good winning percentage and a very good profit factor. We all know that every day is different, though, in the marketplace. That does not mean just because she fires off a trade from power hour long that you have almost a 3 out of 4 chance of having a winner trade. It's not how it works. Okay, there's other variables at play always in the market, you know, and that's what I explain to people. You got to learn to know what the market's doing, what its peers are doing, like Jamie showed you with the construction stock. It's always nice to know what the sector is doing. So you still have to decide what to trade and how to manage your risk. But that being said, you can get some very good calls from Holly. We see today in a very tough market, there was some incredible opportunity. But you know what? I get some great trades from my other one. I get some really good trades from this extreme volume. Just wasn't that active today. I had a couple of stocks that came through, you know, sticking with my patient theme. I think that you can see right here after 9 o'clock, you see Unilever came through right there. That was a decent looking trade. And that one, you know, went pretty much to, you can see the resistance line that Holly draws out for you so nicely, went right up to it. And that's what happened there. The other one was Snap, and it really had a little bit of a pop, but then just kind of fizzled out, you know, and it really didn't do anything. And then other than that, most of it, like I said, was going down. The yellow is stocks moving down on huge volume. Saw a lot of that today. And, you know, time will tell if this is some sort of precursor to things to come, but okay, let's see. Do you generally trade? Let's see. I've heard it said. Do you use extreme RSI? You can, Allison. We have RSI filters. So you, yeah, you can. As a matter of fact, Barry shared a good alert the other day. I don't have time to do it now, but where he uses an extreme RSI with a 2-day high, and get into our trading room and ask Barry about that and his RSI reversal alert. It's a pretty good one. PCG, yeah, PCG was coming through a lot on this today, Lynn. Lynn is saying PCG was a very good short. Now I'd have to go back in time to see when it started to come through. Let's see if it started to come through early on this one. Let's see. Well, an easy way to do that real quickly is what you can do. This is something you guys can learn. Pull this over here. We'll go right click, and we are going to go to it's not going to let me do it this way, is it? Yeah, symbol list, and we can change this to these multi-strategies always get me, Jamie.
Yeah, because there's so much that's the same, and then one option will be different.
Yeah, let me do it to the downside stream and see if I can configure it. There we go. See if it works this way. There we go. Single symbol, and it was PCG. This is how you can find out when it came through. And I go to time frame and put it on today, and it's going to show me every time this one came through today. And we scroll down to the lowest. Why in the heck is it showing me snap when I just put it on? Honestly, I don't know what it's doing now. Now I'm getting frustrated here. Let's see. Let's try this again.
Yeah. Pop it out into its own alert window.
Symbol list. Okay, it's PCG, right? Well, you're right. I can do that. Let's do strategies and open alert window. And then today. Yeah, for some reason, yeah, I only got it at got it right there at 66.56. So still some, for some reason it didn't have the volume. You can see the volume just wasn't meeting my parameters. I'm looking for extreme volume, so it kind of caught that kind of late. But still, even after it came through, you had plenty of movement still left on the downside. But that was a huge move.
That on live volume, boy, when they step on the accelerator.
Exactly, yeah. So obviously they were doing doing huge volume at this point. All right, guys. Chart request. I'll do a few more here, and I'll give you one there. I trade for FPRX. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking daily chart. Nice gap up today. Some decent, you can look at the volume bars. I don't have to look in the window, but you can see relative volume was almost 4 times, normal for the day. Yeah, there's nothing, I have to scroll back here and look. Pull this out. Okay, you do have a little bit of congestion, going back over here. You can see the kind of congestion. If for any reason, it can get through this 45 level, it's another about 50 higher, there's a good chance, I think, it may go and test this level up here. Time will tell, but that's a beautiful, as far as a nice little possible trend reversal, look at the saucer bottom, we call that. So, yeah, I mean, whether it's going to go there in one nice move for you or do some backing and filling beforehand, I don't know. But if it can, get through this this level right here, I think it's a real good chance to go up to the 40, 49 level. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Hang on for those of you guys kicking tires in here. We do have a discount code for you. So let me bring up the presentation again. That was from last week. And remember, guys, we do have a podcast, and I don't know if we have anybody on deck for tomorrow. Jamie, do we have anybody yet, or is it just going to be one of the.
You know what? It's been such a busy day. I haven't had time to consult with Dan. I'll be figuring that all out myself within the next couple of hours, actually.
Yep. You know, we were kind of in the same situation last week, and we end up having a really good one with the 4 of us in there. So guys, it's really good stuff. Whether we have a guest or whether it's somebody from Trade Ideas, we're all professional traders here, and long-time professional traders. So some very insightful information. Check out that podcast. It's just kind of a kicked back, guys chatting stocks and chatting ideas and strategies and things like that. So be sure to, go to your favorite podcast app and download it and watch that podcast. It's going to be a good one. All right, we do have a promo code. It is called Holly Guide, all capital letters. This promo code will get you 15% off your first month or 15% off the entire year, depending if you sign up for the monthly or the annual package. And that works for either package, either the standard, TI standard, or the TI premium, which is going to give you access to our Holly AI unlimited back testing, unlimited price alerts. I shouldn't say unlimited, but definitely price alerts. So anyway, guys, yeah, check it out. Go to trade-ideas.com/price. Be sure you use the code HollyGuide. And if you have any questions, one last time, one reminder, do not miss the live stream recording of the Holly Summit. It was a really good one, and you can watch it right now. Scroll to the 18-minute mark, 18:45 seconds. And that's all. Somehow I'm getting into, I don't know what happened to the final. All right, Steve, I think we can wrap it up now, buddy. I don't know what happened to our info page on there. Well,
hey,
Steve,
want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy day to come hear us. Thanks for popping in.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.